Radio. The time right here now is 6:32, and it's now time for us to join with the newscast coming your way momentarily. Good evening and welcome to our platforms nrpmediaja.com, also Facebook and YouTube at nrpmediaja. It's Thursday, January 25, 2024. I am Leon Nash with the NRP Evening News Roundup. Here are the headlines. Former Member of Parliament Joylyn Silvera was in court today but will remain in custody until another court hearing on February 8th. Attorney at law appeals to Jamaicans to be careful of what they post on the case online. U.S. ambassador urges children to stay away from gangs. St. Andrew police lists individuals as persons of interest. And in sports, Kensington surprises former champions Ushama CC 2-1 in the Portland FA Western Union Major League rescheduled game that was held today. The news today comes to you courtesy of NRP Radio, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations whatsoever.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
NRP Media and Radio.
The most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
Reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations. Welcome now to the details of the news right here on NRP Media and NRP Radio. Former Member of Parliament Joylyn Silvera, who is charged with the death of his wife Melissa, appeared in the Home Circuit Court today in downtown Kingston to answer to the charges. The 52-year-old People's National Party PNP politician, who was assigned or aligned to the PNP up to the point of this incident, was represented by attorneys Peter Champagny and Patrice Riley. He was charged last Friday with murder following weeks of investigations into the high-profile homicide case. It was initially reported that Melissa died in her sleep at her Stony Hill St. Andrew home on November 10. But the police upgraded their probe to one of murder after the post-mortem report revealed that her body had at least 3 bullet fragments. Mr. Silvera is expected to return to court on February 8, at which time the case would be transferred from the parish court to the High Court. Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP Paula Llewellyn, had confirmed yesterday that one of her senior deputies would enter a voluntary bill of indictment to allow the transfer to take place. The media and family members were today barred from viewing the proceedings. Meanwhile, attorney at law Peter Champagny has expressed disappointment about comments which have been made on social media about the case, some of which he says have cast judgment on his client, which the case is just in its preliminary stage.
But I would caution, and that may be an exercise in futility, because there are many persons who have sought to try and convict already. And that's unfortunate, and I will not go beyond that. And just to say that the file is incomplete, and there's a particular document that we need to inspect to determine the way forward in the way of an application for bail for Mr. Silvera. Beyond that, myself and Ms. Patrice Riley, who represent Mr. Silvera, would not want to comment and go into the details and intricacies of the matter.
And Mr. Champagny added that irrespective of the views of the public, each person should appreciate that their views can affect persons connected to the case.
Again, I think it's important that irrespective of your views, there are young children involved, and it is a very, very, very difficult time for these three children. I think that's been euphemistic. And I am asking the public, I'm pleading, maybe again an exercise in futility, but to exercise some level of restraint, not barring anyone from their constitutional right of freedom of expression and so on. But the life and the role of a defense lawyer is to provide defense. Everybody, every person, every citizen has a right to an attorney. And once we are in receipt of full disclosure, then we'll be able to determine how we treat this matter going forward.
That was attorney at law Peter Champagny. U.S. Ambassador to Jamaica Nick Perry has urged students at the Flankers Primary School in St. James to stay away from gangs. The ambassador, who was speaking at the handing over of musical equipment and sport gear today, told the children that the Caribbean is in the US's front yard. The ambassador also reminded the children rather, that gangs are bad for them.
And understand this, that gangs are bad. Gangs are bad. Gangs are bad. Gangs are bad. I will never be in a gang. Sit down in your head. It's an impressive young boys that are looking around. Stay away from invitations to be involved in gangs that do bad things.
That was the U.S. Ambassador to Jamaica, Nick Perry. He was speaking with students at the Flankers Primary School in St. James today. The St. Andrew South Police have listed several individuals as persons of interest in relation to several major crimes, including murders and shootings across the St. Andrew South Division. The following persons are asked to report to the Hunts Bay Criminal Investigation Branch by 6 p.m. tomorrow. They are Rushane Brissett, otherwise called Sulu, Kadeem Grossa, Quayne Byfield, otherwise called Trey, a man only known as Jahim, a man only known as Lele and Hunchi Boy, a man known only as Breda. And the St. Andrew South Police are reassuring the public that all information shared will be handled with the utmost confidentiality. Anyone with information that can assist with the investigation are also asked to report this matter to the police. And 3 teens were charged with wounding with intent following an incident along Riverhead District, St. Anne on Thursday, January 18. Charged are 18-year-old Dwight Mullings, 18-year-old Damien Morris, and 18-year-old Jamie Miller, all of Monique, St. Anne. Reports are that about 5:30 p.m., a man was at a grave digging when he was attacked by 3 teens with machetes. The man received chop wounds to the head that resulted in serious injuries. He was transported to the hospital where he was admitted in serious condition. A report was made and the teens were subsequently charged on Wednesday, January 24. A court date has yet to be finalized. And the Kingston Western Police have also listed several wanted persons of interest in their division that were asked to report to the Denham Town Criminal Investigation Branch at 6 this evening. They are Paul Jump, otherwise called Pablo, person of interest; Ashe Brissett, otherwise called Pegasus, wanted for shooting with intent; Andre Robinson, otherwise called Zuki and Juki, who is a person of interest; Orlando Edwards, otherwise called Sparks, wanted for murder; Tyreek Davis, otherwise called Hittis, wanted for shooting et al; O'Neill Taylor, otherwise called Twin Man, wanted for shooting; a man known only as Heads, wanted for murder; and a man only known as Tizar, wanted for murder. Detectives have identified these individuals as persons who may be able to assist them with ongoing investigations in the division. On to other news. Residents of Wildman Street have charged the Jamaica Public Service Company for negligence, which resulted in the death of 47-year-old Garth McLean this morning. The irate residents made their voices heard when they spoke with members of the media. Peter Winter, who was one of the residents at the scene this morning, spoke to NRP News. Let's listen now to Mr. Winter and what he had to say.
Like now, we don't know if you. Right now, me feel corrupt. Me I tell you, me feel corrupt in my heart. Although me I serve God, me feel corrupt. I tell you, so me feel corrupt because me have the man work for years, brother. What about the book?
What about you?
Me feel corrupt. I just make the second date down now because right now, kill one of my niece. Over a couple years ago, and I'm not never come out of it and see it again. It happened to this man, and like now feel aware. He never would like turn up right now. He never would turn upside down because a peaceful man go and work early, talk to people. And right now, it never would in the morning right now. This man, because hard working man now, and this man now, he just work and he having children right now left behind. And right now, like now, we don't know if you.
That was Peter Winter and another member of the Wild. That should be, let me just get that correct for you. That was Peter Winter and another resident of Wildman Street in Christiana, Manchester, speaking with NRP News about the death of a 47-year-old Garth McLean this morning, who was electrocuted by JPS, allegedly by JPS wires. Meanwhile, Valentin Wint, the PNP caretaker for Northeast Manchester, says it is accepted that accidents can happen. However, he too cast the blame on the utility company for not maintaining the lines to prevent death of this nature.
We know accidents can happen, but when we see extreme case of negligence, we can't just pass by and just make it go on like that. You understand? When the real world, accidents can happen, but in a case of extreme negligence, JPS needs to wake up, man. They really need to wake up, and a life should not have been lost before we get them to be awakened. Sad, not good.
That was Valentin Wint, the PNP caretaker for Northeast Manchester, reacting to 47-year-old Garth McLean, who was allegedly electrocuted by JPS wire along the Wildman Street area of Christiana in Manchester this morning. You're listening to news on NRP Radio, your primary source, our Christian source for news, sports, and the weather on nrpmediaja.com, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
NRP Media and Radio.
The most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
Reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations. It's now 6:45 and you're tuned to the NRP Evening News Roundup right here on the National Religious Partnership Media, NRP Media. Now let's give you some sporting information brought to you by Hepburn's Glass. They're located at 13 Chisholm Avenue in Kingston, Jamaica.
Hepburn's Glass Supplies is the latest trend-setting supplier of glass and mirrors in the industry. We specialize in tinted and clear glasses, as well as mirrors for all your windows, doors, and closets at very competitive prices. To maximize your shopping experience, we stock 316 and 1/8 mirror thickness and 316 and quarter thickness in our entire stock of float glasses. We have in stock gloves, cutters, and suction cups at unbeatable prices. Our customer service is second to none, with same-day cutting for your specific measurements. Visit our office at 13 Chisholm Avenue, Kingston 13. Call us at 908-0962 or email hepburn.glass@gmail.com. Hepburn's Glass. Quality service is our priority.
And now for our sports stories. We kick off on football. Kensington surprised former champions Ujama CC 2-1 with a brace from Alex Amor to get their first victory in the Portland FA Western Union Major League rescheduled game at Hector's River today. Tevon Miller scored for Ujama. In the other game, Rio United held another former champions Manchaniel to a goalless draw. Jamaica are in Group E alongside Guatemala, Dominican Republic, Dominica, British Virgin Islands, or U.S. Virgin Islands. This as the 2026 CONCACAF WCQ draw commenced. Jamaica will know if it's USVI or British Virgin Islands after the first round of the qualifiers in March. In this second round, the top two teams from each group advances to the third round. In the second round, if it is a Swiss format, so Jamaica will play 2 matches at home and 2 away. But Jamaica will not play the same opponent home and away in the second round. In the second round, the top 2 teams from each group advances to the third round. In the second round of, if it's a Swiss format, so Jamaica will play 2 matches at home and 2 away. But Jamaica, as again, we will say, will not play the same opponent home and away in the second round. So once again, Jamaica are in Group E alongside Guatemala, Dominican Republic, Dominica, British Virgin Islands, or U.S. Virgin Islands. This as the 2026 CONCACAF WCQ draw commence. On cricket now, opener Ben Duckett says England are in a strong position in the first test against India despite the host's powerful finish to the first day. England recovered from 60 for 3 and 137 for 6 to post 246, a total that seemed competitive in Hyderabad, or that should be Hyderabad, only for India to race to 119 for 1. Duckett told the BBC Sport that we are very happy being bowled out for what we got. Hopefully, we can take 2 or 3 wickets early one day on day 2 and put them under pressure. The left-hander added, we're in a strong position regardless of them only being 1 down. England won a crucial toss with Duckett and Zach Crawley adding 41 in only 8 overs against some wayward India new ball bowling. But in a pitch offering plenty of turn, both sides have picked 3 specialist spinners. The game changed when India introduced their slow bowlers. That's sports in our NRP Evening News Roundup, brought to you by Hepburn's Glass. They're located at 13 Chisholm Avenue in Kingston, Jamaica. Stand by now as we continue to move on over to give you some news from the VOA. That's coming up right after this. Keep it locked right here on NRP Radio, whether you're on Facebook Live or YouTube or you're on the radio platform. We thank you so much for staying with us. We promise to bring you a good news story as often as we can. If you know of or are aware of any person or event which good story we should highlight, please send this information to our email address at nationalreligiousmedia@gmail.com or call or WhatsApp 876-336-9928. That's the local news and sports. Stand by now for the latest international news that's coming your way, courtesy of the VOA.
This is VOA News. I'm Alexis Strope. The head of the World Health Organization called for a ceasefire and a, quote, true solution to the Israel-Palestinian conflict Thursday. VOA's Rick Pantaleo has more.
In an emotional plea to the global health body's governing body, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus described the conditions in Gaza as hellish.
If we look for a solution, it's always possible. It's only the will that's required. And I'm a true believer, because of my own experience, that war doesn't bring solution except more war, more hatred, more agony, more destruction. So let's choose peace and resolve this issue politically.
Ghebreyesus, who lived through war as a child and whose own children hid in a bunker during the war, became emotional describing conditions in the bombed-out Gaza enclave where more than 25,000 people have been killed. Rick Pantaleo, VOA News.
Israeli fire has struck a crowd waiting for aid in Gaza City, killing at least 20 people, according to authorities there. AP correspondent Karen Shamus reports.
A crowd of people waiting for humanitarian aid at a roundabout in Gaza City was hit by Israeli fire. The strike killed over a dozen people and wounded over 100 more, according to Gaza's health ministry. The Israeli military says it's looking into the reports. The incident comes a day after at least a dozen people were killed and dozens more wounded at a crowded shelter in Gaza, according to the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees, known as UNRWA. I'm Karen Shamas.
A bipartisan Senate deal to pair border enforcement measures and Ukraine aid faces potential collapse. Senate Republicans are increasingly wary of an election year compromise that Donald Trump, the likely Republican presidential nominee, seems likely to oppose. Senate negotiators have been striving for weeks on a carefully negotiated compromise on border and immigration policy. You'll find expanded coverage of world news and events 24 hours a day at voanews.com. This is VOA News.
That was the VOA News, courtesy of the Voice of America, our international news there with the VOA. We urge you now to stay tuned with us right here inside of the evening news roundup as we bring you the latest weather report and forecast, courtesy of the our friends at the National Meteorological Service of Jamaica. That's coming your way right here on this platform momentarily. Stay with us. We're more than happy to have you on board. Now for the weather report and forecast. Now we tell you that the National Meteorological Service of Jamaica has indicated that there is a significant feature of a ridge and low-level jet stream across Jamaica. The ridge is expected to remain across Jamaica through to Saturday, while the low-level jet stream is expected to weaken tomorrow. Expect windy conditions mainly in the afternoon, especially across southern parishes. In the 24-hour forecast, tonight becoming fair. Tomorrow morning, mostly sunny with isolated showers across sections of eastern parishes. Tomorrow afternoon, partly cloudy and windy with isolated showers across sections of western parishes and hilly areas. In the 3-day forecast, starting tomorrow, that should be after tomorrow, Saturday through to Monday. On Saturday, it will be partly cloudy across eastern parishes and hilly areas, mostly sunny elsewhere. On Sunday, partly cloudy across north central parishes, mostly sunny elsewhere. On Monday, expect sunny conditions, mostly in the morning, partly cloudy in the afternoon with isolated showers across hilly areas. In terms of other current regional weather features, there is a cold front across the Gulf of Mexico. The minimum temperature expected for Kingston tonight, 24 degrees Celsius. For Montego Bay, the minimum temperature expected is 24 degrees Celsius. That's the latest weather report and forecast in the NRP Evening News Roundup. And with that, we've come to the end of our news presentation for this evening. But before we go, here are the headlines once again. Former Member of Parliament Joylan Silvera was in court today, but will remain in custody until another court date or court hearing is held on February 8th. Attorney at law appeals to Jamaicans to be careful of what they post about the case online. U.S. ambassador urges children to stay away from gangs. St. Andrew Police, or that should be St. Andrews South Police, lists individuals as persons of interest. And in sport, Kensington surprises former champions Ujama CC 2-1 in the Portland FA Western Union Major League rescheduled game held today. The full half an hour of a package of news this evening came to you courtesy of NRP Radio, reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitations. Here is your invitation to join us again tomorrow morning at 6:30 for the NRP Break of Day newscast. On behalf of the entire team that produced the sports, the weather, and of course the news. My name is Leon Nash for NRP News. We encourage you to join this growing medium. Feel fulfilled and informed. Have a good rest of your evening. Reminding you too that if you walk, ride, or drive, make every effort to arrive alive. Good evening to you. Until next time, we are on. All right, it's just about 3 minutes going up to the hour of 7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, we're going to be joining the JIS for the JIS package of information for today. So stay tuned right here as we stand by to bring that to you. We are very mindful of the fact that you have choices and that you could have gone elsewhere to really listen to what's taking place, but you chose to be here with us, and for that we are grateful and thankful. So stand by for that package, which will be coming your way at on top of the hour at 7 o'clock. This is a station for the nation. We broadcast online, nrpmediaja.com, 24 hours per day. Yes, we broadcast online 24 hours per day on nrpmediaja.com. And during our news time, we present the news via that's not WhatsApp, but Facebook. We presented the news via Facebook at NRP Media JA, or LEAON, Leon Nash. That's on my page. And we also broadcast it on YouTube at NRP Media JA. So any evening that you are in the space, then we ask you to jump online and patronize NRP Radio and give us the support that we require. Right. So 7 o'clock, we're going to bring you the GIS package, and we will move on from that. It's approaching 7 o'clock on the station now. So what we're going to be doing right now, we're going to be taking a pause from the YouTube and Facebook accounts and ask you to go on over to radio. Stand by now as we do that change with the time signal. Psalm 37 verse 8 says, "Don't get angry. Don't be upset. It only leads to trouble." This is NRP Media and Radio. The time is 7 o'clock. All right, so you heard it there. Let's do this and head over to the GIS. Hi there, I'm Leon Nash, CEO of NRPMediaJA.com.